Hello, people! Welcome to another edition of A Dose of Drew. Here on Friday Night Knives tonight, we are looking at the Protech Mordax. This one in the S45N. This is a ferrum forge design. It's a neat little design too. I actually like ferrum forge quite a bit. Trying to find my measuring tools here. All right. So here we go. First things first, let's get us some standardized measurements here. From tip to tail, you're looking at almost 8.5 inches. If we do it along there, it's about 8 3/8. With a straight across to there, just over 3.5 inches. Cutting edge is about 4, just under. So really, really nice, not bad. It is aluminum handled, bearing button lock. No real liners. It's just solid aluminum scales. Hidden lanyard. Not bad at all. Let's get the weight on this sucker, because it is not light, but it's not super heavy either. Well, 3 3/4 for a full-size knife. That's not bad. Let's get a couple of other quick measurements here as well. Blade stock on it. Not bad. Basically 1.12. It's a little bit below. It's not too bad behind the edge either. Let me see if I can get a really good. This is always the tricky part. Is it good? It's about 21 thousandths behind the edge. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. All right, so it's not the thinnest thing behind the edge, but it is a pretty Herkin blade. Just under 1/8 of an inch, so about 3 millimeters, I would imagine. So it's right in there. It's actually pretty sweet how it goes. Couple of relative measurements here. Here it is next to the Paramilitary 2. Again, another S45VN. That's something to realize here. This is S45N. It is not Magna Cut. We're back. S45VN is a great seal, overshadowed only by the fact that we've got such an outstanding Magna Cut out there that really S45VN is the Salieri to Magna Cut's Mozart. But let's pull the Para 3 lightweight here. Another S45. As you can see, much closer to the Paramilitary 2. More cutting edge, still a usable choil. Lots of hand space, slightly more than the Paramilitary 2, which is a pretty neat deal. Actually, very ergonomic, though straight. We'll get to that here a little bit more. And it's just a blur. As you can see, there's not a lot of difference in the blue here in the anodized aluminum, but there is enough of a difference that you can see it in the light. And of course, not just any leak, but a random leak. There you are. Full-size knife the Mordax is here. It is just slightly more than the Blur, giving you lots of edge, lots of hand space, plus a choil that the Blur just does not have. Would love it. It just doesn't have it. So there you go. That is it. And with some of the others, it is definitely larger than the Bug Out, but as you can see, it is not so much so that you can't tell. It's still pretty compact. And of course, the Civivi Elementum, a great classic. Larger than both of those by a significant margin. It definitely is on the larger side, which of course makes it larger than my Wienar, but my Wienar just has more angles and can go more places. All right. So let's get into the design, the design, aesthetics, mechanics, noteworthy points, intended purpose, cost evaluation, expectations, and requests, if there's a way to make it nicer, in my opinion. All right, so the design, classic, clean. I don't know if you've noticed it just by looking at the picture. There's, on the show scale here, there's basically no real other screws. There's the pivot screw, which is relatively small, very understated button, all of that stuff understated, and the stop pin. There's one that goes all the way through on the other side, and then the thing, it's not a reversible pocket clip, so it's right-handed only. And the hidden lanyard, such a clean design. There's like almost nothing on there. The button, see if I can get, See if you can see it. It's almost flush. Almost flush. You can... There we go. I had to roll my thumb quite a bit to get there. Works. Works great. Flipper. Look at just look. See my finger bend with that pressure? Boom, snap. It does take a bit to get it to go. Is that good or bad? Some people may or may not like it. I think it's got some wearing to do. I've had this for a little while, and I still believe that it has some wearing in to do. But that's all right too, because it is quite a nice little bit. It does have snappy action. It does take a little bit of pressure, but that also does wear in. See, very smooth. And it is classic in its design. Very classic. Straight drop point. It drops just a little bit. As you can see, there's a little bit of a curve. If I put that on there, it drops away from there just a little bit. Or if I do that, that might be. So yeah, it just drops down just the tiniest bit. All right, so there is a slight hand of a drop point, high, flat grind, nice bit of finger choil, and a finger groove that really gets you lots of grip capabilities, and it works very well at that. Very good edge on this as well. The design is for relatively thick, and then it looks like a pretty high level or a pretty high grind, probably maybe 20 degrees per side. Haven't measured it yet. It is a fairly thin secondary bevel, which makes me believe that it is a higher degree instead of a lower one, meaning a less steep angle as opposed to there. So more like 20 degrees instead of 15 degrees per side. That being said, the cleanliness and classicness and just the straight lines of it are good. It's part of the aesthetics. It's so clean. It's so, and it looks like a knife. You know what it is when you see it. It's got this classic kind of symmetry to it that's really, really fantastic. It has lots, just easy on the grind style, which is nice. Does a pretty good job of following the edge. Very, very pronounced flipper tab. Again, the action, snappy, smooth, linear. One of the best button lock actions. It's right up there with the Malibu. It is truly one of the better. I don't have the Malibu out right here, but just one of the other ones that's really good is the Civivi Sentinel Strike. It's just not as snappy. Has a lot of the same stuff, not as snappy. And I really mean that. Like, there's very few button lock knives that are as snappy in their action as the Mordax, and that includes the Malibu. The Mordax is just snappy in its button lock action. Makes it a little bit hard to pull, and it has a really, really good detent, but it makes for such snappy action that's really, really unusual on a button lock, and that's important as part of the mechanics. It's very smooth. It works great. Action, reliable every time. It's right. You can make it bounce. You can hold the button. See if I can stop it. Yeah, you can just about stop it all the way. Very, very tight when it's closed. Fits nicely into its own profile, almost like a block, just almost square. Very, very great on the aesthetics and mechanics. Noteworthy points about this: it's a button lock. It's an aluminum handled Protech. It's S45VN. Magna Cut is the big. I mean, it is the big steel out there. It's going to be for a while. It's one of the best pocket knife and small fixed blade steels you can get. That's out there. That's, you know, stainless. S45VN is right there, second, maybe third place, depending upon what you're looking at. It's an outstanding knife. Like I said, it's the only reason it's not top dog right now is because Magna Cut's out there, and Magna Cut just is that much better. But a lot of the stuff I've already talked about, the clean design, the deep anodized aluminum handles, the not one piece, but how the integrated backspacer is with the aluminum, giving it a lot of stability. That's pretty amazing, actually. That's really amazing. It's an outstanding bit, and its intended purpose is EDC. This is a one pocket knife to do everything. The S45VN lets you do all sorts of stuff. The drop point is a classic shape and design. Will do almost everything. It is absolutely, and I mean absolutely, a package piercer, a shrink wrap slicer, a cardboard carver, and an envelope eviscerator extraordinaire. It does really, really well at all of that. And it still has a pretty robust tip while being absolutely acute enough to be able to get a little bit of work in. You can pick a sliver, you can do whatever you need while still having a robust tip for piercing on heavier stuff like cardboard or, you know, packaging and all that sort of stuff. It does very, very well. You have in there, if you need to get up, you need to maneuver it, it does it all, pinch grip and choked up and everything. Fantastic. So it does the intended purpose. Cost to value ratio is where it falls just a little bit. it's just a little bit. It's well over the $200 mark, which is where a lot of people are going to. Let me see here. Let me make sure I get this. I get the price right. $240, I believe, is about what this normally runs. These are often coming out as exclusives or other stuff. They have black and blue. I really like the blue. They both have gray hardware, so it's a matter of what color you like your handle scale. So it's about $240, $250. You might find them on special. They'll be right around there. It's not inexpensive, but it's also not cheap. This is extraordinarily well done. Made in America, made here in California. Fair and Forged design, Protech execution. That is a San Diego, Fair and Forged is out of San Diego, and Protech is out of LA. So this is a California dream and a California duo. Right, we got some Beach Boys making knives, and it's pretty damn good. So the value's there. It's one of the best button locks when it comes to action out there. It's hands down, bar none. I don't care. I have not tested them all, but I find it hard to imagine action that is of any significance or any significantly measurable difference that would make it that much better than this. There's things that I could, but it's very small degrees of betterment that could be arguably not better. This is just one of the best actions out there, and it's hard to imagine action that would be better. That's so linear, easy to control just by pressure, snappy on the action, right? Closes up with just the easiest little bit. Gravity will do it. Super smooth, just so well tuned. Really, really hard to not be impressed by that. And S45 Yen, the execution great. Protech does a great job on the heat treat. Absolutely sharp out the gate. Coming out of the box, it's easily paper cutting and hair shaving. Could get better, but this is really hard to be upset with. It's very well done. Protech has great factory edges. This one is no exception. And here's the thing, I expected this to be great, and it was. I expected this to be a Protech knife that was really, really fantastic, and it is. So the expectations on this were high, and it delivered. And honestly, the only request I have is, I'm sure what everyone says, well, let's get it in Magnet Cut too. Let's do an S90V. Either a Magnet Cut or an S90V is something I can really see on here, or a Magnet Cut. But S45 Yen is no slouch. Right now, those are my three favorite steels that are out there that you can get regularly amongst knives, and that's Magnet Cut, S45 Yen, and S90V. I think depending upon, if you're looking for something that's a little bit cheaper, the S45 Yen is a great bit. If you need something with a bit more edge retention than Magnet Cut or S45 Yen, the S90V is it. If you need the jack of all trades, master of more than one, the Magnet Cut's the way to go. So this is about the only thing, but there's really nothing else that's, I would love to say I would want black hardware, but with the stonewash, the matte gray, the color combo's nice. The blade matches the hardware. And with such a clean front scale, you get the beauty of it. And on the unboxing, I said it, I'll say it again. This is the best blue and the best anodization I've seen on a knife. It's really, really fantastic. Previously, it was It was indeed the Kershaw Blur Blue, but the one on the Protech to me is just it's just that much better. It's that much deeper. It's just got a bit more of a hue to it. Maybe I've had the Blur around a while, but it is just different enough to be, in my opinion. This is splitting hairs and something that's definitely specific to me, but it's really hard to not like something that is, well, it's just that purty. But I want to go back through this because this is something that I'm not going to think. It's kind of a sleeper. It's very classic and clean. But the design is great. The ergonomics, the way it closes, the snappiness of the action, right? The smoothness of it. This probably needs to be cleaned a little bit as I have used this a lot. Very, very, very nice, snappy action. It will wear in a little bit and clean up. All button locks do. Oops, bumped the camera. All button locks tend to a little bit, just like crossbar locks, they do wear in a little bit. You can do the snapper, but it is just as easy to do the finger. It bounces a little bit. Doing it on an angle is weird. It's really, really well done. The aesthetics, clean, classic, absolutely. It's while still being distinctive. You can tell the Mordax just by looking at it, and yet it's very classically knifed. That's a very tricky thing to do and very well done by Ferrum Forge on their design. The mechanics, Protech has done a great job. If anything, it's just a little bit too snappy, a little bit hard on the detent, but I would rather it be a little hard and snappy than a little too soft and easy to pop out. That's on a button lock, that's important. And again, it's Ferrum Forge, made in the USA, top of the line. It's EDC Beast, full-size knife, lots of room for a great saber grip, full 4 fingers plus for me, which means larger size hands or larger size gloves. Extra large hands can definitely fit into it. Just enough choil for everything. The buttons far enough recessed that a pinch grip won't mess with it at all. Yeah, it's really, really, really nice. All for about $250. I'd love to complain, but the biggest thing is that most people would probably want for $250, they would probably want titanium instead of aluminum, but you don't get the colors that aluminum has. And aluminum is perfectly fine, lightweight and still strong. It's good enough for airplanes. It's good enough for a knife. And that's really the expectations I had, and it delivered and then some. It is just that little bit better than I expected. I expected it to be great, and it's just that little bit better. And that actually puts it up in the 95 to 96 range. I am really, really both happy with the purchase and impressed by just how well Protech has managed to pull this off as far as an execution. It's a great design by Ferrum Forge that I don't think, whoa, better quit kicking this thing if I can. I think Ferrum Forge did a great design, and Protech did an outstanding job of executing. It puts it right in the top tier of knives. While still, if you're a titanium freak and you just got to have titanium, this probably isn't going to do it for you. But if you're not, this has everything you need for a high-end knife done by 2 American companies that are really on top of the game. They're not, I'm not going to sit here and tell you they're the best in the world like that, but they're up there. They're very well known, and they do an incredible job. Protech has redefined in recent years the button lock being on a regular knife, and they have caused an explosion of plunge lock designs that the knife community is just all the better for having been out there. And they do not slack at all with the re-release of the Mordax, putting just another button lock up there with their Malibu as some of the best ones out there. And that's where I'm going to leave it, you guys. This is really, really well done. If you're in the market for a high-end knife and you can find these, because Protechs go fast, they do not make enough of them. It keeps their price and demand high, but you probably make a few more. It's great. It's worth it. They're really, really well done. The S45 yen is going to be there for a while with a high flat grind. There's still plenty of room. You can sharpen this for life, and it is pretty likely to actually be with you as an EDC knife for life. And that's a great thing. It's not It's not cheap or inexpensive, but it is still a good value. It could be cheaper, or you could argue there would be a titanium or something, Magna Cut, blah, 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 blah. But it's still an outstanding knife for the price. And that's really what's important and what it's about. And that's where I'm going to leave it. It's really hard to keep saying really great stuff about it, but it is just really one of the top ones out there. So it's, in the damn nice scale, I give it a 95 to 96 out of 100. It is outstandingly well done. And yeah, so there you go. The Protech Mordax, Ferrum Forged design, California dreamin', and it has been oh so good. All right, so go ahead, everybody, take this video, watch it twice, comment as much as you like, be mindful of side effects. Remember to like and subscribe. This has been your dose of Drew. I am said Drew. You guys have a great rest of your night.